The rain poured from the sky like the world was crying. The streets were wet, the lights were dim, and most people rushed to their homes, hiding under umbrellas. But one man wasn't in a hurry. His name was David Morgan, a rich millionaire who had just left a big charity dinner. David sat in the back seat of his black luxury car, dressed in a fine suit. The driver was silent, the music soft. David looked out the window, bored. He had given thousands of dollars tonight to help poor families. People had clapped for him, thanked him. But somehow he still felt empty. Suddenly, something caught his... As the car passed a dark alley, David saw a woman, barefoot, wet, and shaking. She was holding a small baby in her arms. The baby was wrapped in a thin cloth. The woman had a broken umbrella over her head, but it didn't help much. She stood still as people walked past her. No one stopped. No one asked. David leaned forward. "Stop the car," he said quietly. The driver looked back surprised. "Sir?" "Just stop." The car slowed down and David opened the door. Rain hit him instantly, cold and sharp, but he didn't care. He walked toward the woman. She looked up slowly. Her face was pale, lips blue from the cold. Her eyes, they were full of fear, sadness, and something else, something that made David pause. She didn't speak. She didn't beg. She just held the baby tighter. "Are you okay?" David asked gently. No answer. "Where's your home?" Still no answer. He noticed the woman was shivering. Her clothes were soaked. The baby coughed, a weak, dry sound that made David's heart squeeze. He looked at the baby. Its tiny face was red, eyes half closed. "You can't stay out here," David said. "You'll both get sick." She looked at him, unsure. Her arms tightened around the child. "I don't mean to hurt you," David said. "Just come sit in the car. It's warm." She still didn't move. But when the baby coughed again, louder, deeper, she took a step forward. David guided her to the car. The driver opened the door quickly, surprised to see a homeless woman getting in. David sat beside her. The baby started coughing again. It was worse now. Its small chest shook with every breath. David's eyes widened. "We need to go to the hospital, now!" he shouted. "Yes, sir," the driver replied, and the car sped off. Inside the car, the woman sat quietly. Her hands were wrapped around the baby, trying to keep him warm. Her eyes looked out the window, but her mind was far away. David reached into the front pocket and pulled out a small towel. "Here, dry the baby's face." She took it slowly, her hands shaking. "What's your name?" David asked. She didn't answer. "Can you tell me the baby's name?" Still silent, David didn't push more. He just looked at the child. He was so small, so weak. Soon, the car reached the hospital. Nurses rushed to take the baby. David followed closely. The woman tried to go after them, but a nurse gently stopped her. "It's okay, we'll take care of him. Please wait here." David placed a hand on the woman's shoulder. "They'll help him. He'll be okay." She looked at him. Her lips moved, but no sound came. Then finally she whispered, "Thank you." It was the first word she spoke. David felt something heavy in his chest. He wasn't sure what it was, pity, guilt, or something more. They sat in the hospital waiting area, both wet and tired. The woman looked down, her hair sticking to her. David offered her a cup of coffee. She held it with both hands, warming her fingers. After a while, a doctor came. "The baby is stable," he said. "He had a mild fever and he's very weak. He needs food, rest and warmth, but he'll be okay." David let out a breath of relief. The woman closed her eyes and whispered something, maybe a prayer. The doctor asked for her name. She stayed quiet. David stepped in. "Can I handle the bill?" The doctor nodded. "Yes, of course, but we will need details soon." David agreed. He turned to the woman. "You and your child need help. I can offer you a safe place for tonight." The woman opened her mouth to speak, but then stopped. She looked at her baby through the glass window of the hospital room. Slowly, she nodded. David smiled a little. "All right then, let's get you home." But what he didn't know was this simple act of kindness would change his life forever. He thought he was helping a stranger. But this woman, and her child, were about to reveal a secret, one that would shock him more than anything he had ever known. The hospital hallway was quiet. Rain still tapped against the windows outside, but inside, all was calm. David sat beside the silent woman. She held the warm coffee cup close to her lips but didn't drink. Her eyes were locked on the hospital room where her baby now slept under a blanket. David kept glancing at her. She had not told him her name. She had not asked any questions. She just sat still, watching, waiting, as if afraid to blink. A nurse walked by and smiled softly at David. He nodded back. Then he turned to the woman again. "You haven't eaten," he said gently. "Can I get you something?" She didn't answer. "I'll be back in a few minutes," David said and stood up. He went to the hospital cafe and bought soup, bread, and a bottle of water. He returned to find her still sitting in the same spot, still watching the babies. "Room. I brought food," he said kindly, setting the tray down. Finally, she looked at him, just for a second. Then, slowly, she reached for the soup. She ate like someone who hadn't tasted food in days, but carefully, quietly, like someone afraid to be seen. David didn't speak. He just watched her. When she was done, he said, "Your baby is strong. He's fighting. Just needs rest and care." She nodded a little, but her lips were tight. "You're safe now," David added. Suddenly she spoke. Her voice was soft. "You shouldn't help me." David leaned forward. "Why?" "You don't know who I am," she said. "Then tell me," David replied. "Who are you?" She looked away. "Just someone who made a mistake." David didn't push further. He could see fear in her eyes. Not fear of him, but fear of something else, someone else. "Your child needs you strong," David said. "Let me help you both." She shook her head. "It's not that simple." He stayed quiet for a moment, then asked, "Is someone looking for you?" Her eyes widened just a bit. Her fingers tightened around the empty cup. Then, she whispered, "Please don't tell anyone I'm here." David looked at her carefully. "Is someone dangerous? Is it the baby's father?" She stood up suddenly. "I need to leave." David stood too. "You can't take the baby out tonight. He's still under care." "I don't want trouble," she said quickly. "You've done enough." David blocked her gently. "Listen, I don't want anything from you. I just don't want you or the child to suffer." The woman's eyes filled with tears, but she wiped them quickly. "I'm not asking for pity," she said. "I know," David said calmly. "You didn't ask for anything. I offered." She looked tired, her shoulders dropped slightly. "You'll regret helping me." David smiled just a little. "I've made worse decisions." She gave the smallest laugh, but it faded fast. That night, David arranged a private room for the baby and the woman. She didn't say thank you, but her eyes showed something soft. Maybe trust, or maybe just relief. David stayed until late, then finally left for home. But on the drive back, he couldn't stop thinking about her. Who was she? Why was she hiding? What kind of life had she run from? He had helped many people with money before, but this felt different, personal, deep. When David reached his mansion, his housekeeper, Maria, was waiting. "Sir, everything all right?" she asked. David nodded slowly. "Not sure. You're wet. Let me bring you towels." As he dried off, he sat by the fire, his mind still on the woman and her baby. He picked up his phone, called someone. "James," he said. "I need a favor." James was his private investigator. "There's a woman I met tonight, no name, no ID. She has a baby. I want to know who she is and why she's so afraid." James asked for details. David gave what little he knew. "Be careful, David," James said. "You don't know what you're walking into." "I think she's in danger," David said. "Just find out what you can." The next morning, David went back to the hospital. The woman was awake, sitting beside the baby's bed. She didn't look up when he entered, but she didn't tell him to leave either. He handed her a clean set of clothes. New, warm. I had someone bring them. She hesitated, then took the bag. The nurse said the baby was doing better and could be discharged the next day. But they still didn't have a name for records. David asked her again, gently. What do I call you? She looked at him, and for the first time she whispered, Anna. He smiled. Anna, that's a beautiful name. And your baby, she looked at the child lovingly. Liam. Anna and Liam, David said softly. You're not alone anymore. But Anna didn't smile. Her eyes were still full of worry, and David knew. She was still hiding something. Whatever it wasn't over yet. And soon he would discover the truth, a truth that would turn this simple rescue into something far more dangerous than he ever imagined. The next morning, David waited outside the hospital. His black car was parked near the entrance. It was still cloudy, but the rain had stopped. The air was cold and quiet. Inside, Anna gently picked up her baby, Liam. The nurse helped her place him in a soft blanket. He was sleeping now, his tiny chest rising and falling slowly. Anna looked down at him with tired eyes. He was safe. For now. She walked out of the hospital and stopped when she saw David waiting beside the car. You don't have to do this, she said quietly. David gave a small smile. You're not going back to the street with a sick baby. Anna hesitated. Just for a few days, David added, until you figure out what to do next. Anna slowly nodded. She had no other choice. She couldn't risk taking Liam back to the cold. Not again. David opened the car door. Anna stepped in, holding Liam close. She said nothing during the drive. The city passed by, and soon, the car turned onto a long road surrounded by trees. At the end stood a large white mansion, quiet and grand, with tall windows and a wide gate. Anna's eyes widened slightly. It looked like a house from a dream. This is where you live? She asked softly. David nodded. It's too big for one person. The car stopped. A maid opened the front door. Welcome back, sir, she said, then turned to Anna with a warm smile. Please come in. Anna stepped inside carefully. The floor was shiny. Everything smelled clean and new. The lights were soft and golden. It didn't feel like a home. It felt like another world. This way, David said, leading her down a hallway. You'll stay in the guest room. It has everything you need. Anna followed, still silent. The guest room was large. A soft bed, a baby crib already set up, clean towels, warm lights. Anna slowly sat on the bed. Liam was still sleeping in her arms. David stood by the door. Take your time. If you need anything, just ask. Why are you doing this? Anna asked suddenly. David paused. Because I can, and because something tells me you need someone to care, even for just a moment. Anna looked down. Her fingers brushed Liam's forehead. She didn't speak again. David left her alone. But all day, he couldn't stop thinking about her. Something about Anna didn't feel like a normal homeless case. She looked educated, careful, and always alert, like someone who once lived a very different life. That night, David called James again. Did you find anything? He asked. James replied, Not much. No missing person report. No ID match. She's like a ghost. Keep looking, David said. I think there's more to her story. Meanwhile, in her room, Anna stared at the ceiling. Liam was asleep, in the crib beside her. Everything was warm and safe, but her heart felt cold. She knew this wouldn't last. She couldn't stay here forever. Not with a man like David. He was kind, yes, but he didn't know her past. And if he ever found out, he might regret ever helping her. The next morning, David came to check on them. How's Liam? He asked. Better, Anna replied softly. He slept through the night. Good. You both need rest. He sat down across from her. You were a teacher once, weren't you? Anna looked up quickly. What? You speak well. You read things carefully, your hands. You hold him like someone used to working with children. Anna stayed silent for a moment. Yes, she finally said. I was a school teacher. In this city? She shook her head. Far from here. David waited, but she didn't say more. Then he said, "You can stay as long as you need. No pressure. But if there's anything you want to tell me, I'll listen." Anna looked at him. For a moment her lips parted. It seemed like she was about to speak. But then footsteps interrupted. Maria, the housekeeper, entered. "Sir, there's someone at the gate asking for you. He says it's urgent." David stood. "I'll be right there." He looked at Anna one last time before leaving. She looked pale again, like she was suddenly afraid. Down at the gate, a man in a dark coat stood waiting. David approached him. "Can I help you?" The man handed over a photo. David looked at it. It was a picture of Anna, but younger, smiling, standing beside another man. "Have you seen this woman?" the man asked. His voice was cold. David didn't answer. The man added, "She took something that doesn't belong to her, and I'm going to find her case with or without help." David's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" The man smiled darkly. "Let's just say, I'm someone she should have never run from." David didn't react. He simply said, "I haven't seen her." The man nodded and walked away. Back inside the mansion, Anna stood by the window, holding Liam tightly. Her eyes were wet. She had seen the man from the upstairs window, and now she knew. They had found her. Anna didn't sleep that night. She sat on the edge of the bed, holding Liam close, watching the shadows on the wall grow longer and darker. Her mind raced. Her heart thudded with fear. She had seen him, the man at the gate. He had found her. She thought she had run far enough. Changed cities, disappeared, but somehow he had found her again. David had been kind, too kind, but she couldn't stay here anymore. She couldn't drag him into her nightmare. At dawn, she quietly packed a few baby things in a small bag. Liam was still asleep, but she wrapped him gently and placed him in the stroller David had given her. Her hand trembled as she reached for the door, but just as she opened it, David was standing there. "Going somewhere?" he asked calmly. Anna froze. "I saw your face last night. You knew that man, didn't you?" David said. Anna looked away. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have stayed here. I didn't mean to bring danger to your home." David sighed and stepped inside. "You're not going anywhere. Not like this." "I can't let him find me," Anna whispered. "You don't understand who he is." "Then help me understand," David said. "Please, tell me the truth, Anna." Anna hesitated for a long moment. Her lips trembled. Then, finally, she sat down and began to speak. "His name is Victor," she said softly. "He was my husband." David's eyes narrowed. "Was? I left him 2 years ago. I had to." She looked down at Liam. "When I got pregnant, I thought he would change, but he didn't. He only got worse." David listened in silence. "He controlled everything," Anna continued. "My phone, my bank account, my job. He hit me. Not just once. Many times. He said if I ever tried to leave, he'd find me and take my baby away." Tears welled in her eyes, but she wiped them quickly. "I ran the night Liam was born. I waited until he was asleep, grabbed my baby and disappeared. No money, no ID, just fear." David felt his chest tighten. "Why didn't you go to the police?" "I did," Anna said. "Once, but Victor is rich. Powerful. He had friends in high places. He made the report disappear. After that, I stopped trusting anyone." David sat down beside her. "I believe you." Anna looked at him, surprised. "I've met people like him," David said. "Men who hide evil behind charm and money." Anna spoke again, her voice low. "If he finds me, he'll take Liam. I know he will, and no court will stop him." David leaned forward. "Then we won't let him find you again." Anna shook her head. "You can't protect us forever. You have a life, a business. You don't even know me." "I know enough," David said gently. "You're a mother who risked everything for her child. That's more than most people would ever do." There was silence between them, deep and heavy. Then Anna whispered, "Thank you." David stood. "For now, stay here. I'll take care of things." That afternoon, David called James again. "He came here," David said. "His name is Victor. Look into him. I want to know everything." James responded quickly. "Already on it, but be careful. This guy has connections, dirty ones." "I don't care," David replied. "If he thinks he can hurt her or take that baby, he'll have to go through me." Meanwhile, back in her room, Anna watched Liam sleep, his tiny hand curled around her finger. He didn't know the danger waiting outside, and she would do anything to keep it that way. Just then, Maria knocked softly and entered. "Miss Anna, I made something for you," she said, holding a bowl of warm soup. Anna smiled weakly. "Thank you." Maria sat beside her. "You don't have to be afraid anymore. Mr. David has a strong heart. He helps people not just with money, but with soul." Anna nodded. "I hope you're right." That night after dinner, David checked the security cameras again. More guards were now placed around the mansion. He didn't want to take any chances. Suddenly, James called. "David," he said quickly, "you need to hear this. Victor owns 3 nightclubs, a security firm, and has 2 open cases against him, but they keep getting closed. He's got lawyers, politicians, maybe even police in his pocket." David clenched his jaw. "So he's untouchable?" "Not completely," James replied. "But if he knows Anna's here, he won't stop." David looked out the window. The sky was dark. The house was quiet. But he knew the storm wasn't over. Then James added, "There's something else. Victor hired a private tracker last week. He paid a lot. Someone helped him trace Anna's hospital visit." David's eyes widened. "The hospital, that's how he found her." "Exactly," James said. "You need to move her. Soon." David hung up and went straight to Anna's room. "We're leaving," he said firmly. Anna looked up, startled. "What? Why?" "He found you through the hospital. He knows where you are. We can't wait for him to knock again." Anna nodded. "Where will we go?" David looked into her eyes. "Someplace safe, a place even Victor can't touch." She clutched Liam tightly, and as they packed quietly in the night, neither of them knew, Victor was already closer than they thought. The sky was still dark when David stepped into the guest room. "Anna," he whispered, "wake up, it's time." Anna sat up fast, her eyes wide with fear. "Is he here?" "Not yet," David said. "But we can't wait. He's too close." She nodded. Liam was still asleep beside her. She gently picked him up, wrapped him in a warm blanket, and kissed his forehead. David handed her a small backpack. "I've packed everything you'll need. Diapers, milk, clothes." "Where are we going?" she asked quietly. "Somewhere. Safe. A private cabin in the mountains. No roads, no signals, only I know the way." Anna's voice trembled. "You don't have to do this. I've already brought too much trouble." David looked at her. "I've made up my mind. You're not alone anymore." Downstairs, James was waiting with a black SUV. "I disabled the security cameras," he said. "If Victor's watching, he won't see us leave." Maria hugged Anna before they left. "Stay strong," she whispered, "and don't come back until you're truly safe." Anna's eyes watered. "Thank you for everything." The SUV moved through the quiet city, avoiding main roads. No one spoke. Only the sound of Liam's soft breathing filled the car, and an hour later the city lights disappeared behind them. Trees replaced buildings. The road became narrow and rough. Anna looked out the window. "It's so quiet here." "That's the point," David said. "No one can find you here, not even him." They finally reached a wooden cabin hidden deep in the forest. Snow covered the ground. Smoke rose gently from the chimney. Inside, the cabin was warm. A fire burned softly in the fireplace. Blankets were stacked neatly. The kitchen was small but clean. David showed Anna the baby's room, a crib, a heater, a rocking chair. Her eyes filled with tears. "You did all this for us?" David gave a small smile. "You and Liam deserve peace." For the first time, Anna felt something she hadn't felt in years. Safe. But that feeling didn't last long. Back in the city, Victor stood in front of David's mansion. His eyes were cold. His fists were tight. "She's gone," his bodyguard said. "They left before sunrise." Victor turned toward the gate. "Find her. I don't care what it takes." The guard hesitated. "Sir, the man helping her is David Hunt." Victor's eyes narrowed. "The millionaire?" "Yes, and he's serious. Security, lawyers, everything." Victor's face darkened. "Then I'll be serious too. I'm done playing games." He walked away, but his mind was already working. David might be rich, but Victor had secrets, and he wasn't afraid to use them. Meanwhile, in the cabin, Anna started to relax. Days passed slowly. Liam was smiling. More. His cough was gone. He slept better at night. David cooked simple meals, helped clean, sat with Anna by the fire. One evening, Anna spoke softly. "Why are you still helping me, David?" He looked at her, quiet for a moment, then said, "Because I lost someone once, someone I didn't help in time. I won't make the same mistake twice." Anna looked at the flames. "Was it someone you loved?" David nodded. "My sister. She was in an abusive marriage, too. She never told anyone, until it was too late." Anna whispered, "I'm so sorry." He shook his head. "That's why when I saw you in the rain, I couldn't drive away. It felt like she was asking me to." "Stop!" Anna wiped a tear from her cheek. "Maybe she was." Suddenly Liam cried. Anna rushed to pick him up, but David followed and helped soothe him. "He likes you," Anna said with a soft smile. David smiled back. "He's a strong little guy, just like his mother." But outside the cabin, danger was near. Victor had traced a signal from David's SUV, an old GPS ping left behind by mistake. He stood in front of a large map. "Here," he pointed. "This area. Forest land. Only one road in." His bodyguard asked, "What do you want to do?" Victor's eyes burned. "I'm going to get my son and punish the man who took him." He picked up his coat. "They think they're safe out there, but they forgot one thing." "What's that, sir?" the guard asked. Victor grinned coldly. "I always finish what I start." Back in the cabin, David checked the windows before bed. Something felt off, a chill in the air, a sense of danger. He stepped outside for a moment. The moon lit the snow-covered trees, silence everywhere, but in the distance, hidden in the darkness, someone watched. Anna lay beside Liam that night, unaware of the eyes in the woods, and, before sunrise came again, the past would come crashing through their door. The forest was quiet, too quiet. David stood on the porch of the cabin. Snowflakes fell gently from the dark sky. His breath came out in small clouds, but it wasn't the cold that made him feel uneasy. It was something else, something he couldn't explain. Inside, Anna was feeding Liam. The little boy giggled, mashed carrots all over his cheeks, and reached for her hair. For a moment she smiled like she used to before fear became her shadow. She didn't know that danger was already watching. From behind the trees, Victor stared at the cabin. His coat was soaked from the snow, but he didn't care. His eyes were fixed on the window where Anna sat with the baby. She thought she could run, he said under his breath. She thought someone like David Hunt could protect her. He turned to his man beside him. "I want them out in 5 minutes. Don't scare the baby, I'll take him myself." The guard nodded and moved quietly through the snow toward the back door. Inside, David stepped back in. He looked tense, Anna noticed. "Is something wrong?" "I don't know," David said. "I just have a bad feeling." Before he could say more, crash. The back window shattered. A black-gloved hand reached in and unlocked the door. Anna screamed and grabbed Liam. David rushed forward. "Anna, go to the bedroom, lock the door." But before she could move, a man in black burst in. Anna ran with Liam, holding him tight, her legs shaking. David tackled the man. They fought hard. The man was strong, but David had something more. No one was going to touch Anna or Liam. He slammed the attacker into the wall. The man tried to reach for a knife, but David grabbed a fire iron from beside the fireplace and knocked it from his hand. Just then, Another crash came, from the front door. Victor. He stepped in slowly, calmly, as if he owned the place. David turned, breath heavy, face bloody. "Stay away from them." Victor smirked. "You're a fool, Hunt. You think you know her? She's mine. That child is mine." "He's not yours," David growled. "He's hers, and you're not taking them." Victor pulled a gun from inside his coat. David froze, but then, boom! A shot rang out, not from Victor, but from the bedroom. Anna. She stood there, hands shaking, holding a small pistol David had given her days ago. Just in case. Victor dropped to his knees. The gun fell from his hand. He clutched his shoulder, bleeding badly. Anna was crying, her hand still up. "Don't touch my baby, don't come near us again." Victor looked up at her, hatred in his eyes, but pain in his body. David moved quickly. He kicked Victor's gun far across the floor and tied his hands using a thick rope from the closet. "Call the police," Anna said, her voice breaking. David picked up his phone and dialed James. "Send the police," he said. "Now. Location shared." James replied. "We tracked Victor's signal an hour ago. They're already on the way. Hold tight." Anna sat on the couch, still shaking. Liam cried softly in her arms. David sat beside her, touching her arm gently. "It's over now. You were brave. You protected your child. You did it." "I was so scared," she whispered. "I didn't want to hurt anyone, but I couldn't lose Liam." "You didn't," David said, "and you never will." Minutes later, police lights flashed through the trees. Officers rushed in and arrested Victor and his injured man. Both were taken away in handcuffs. One officer turned to David. "Thanks for holding them. We've been looking for Victor for a long time." Anna looked confused. "Why?" The officer explained, "He's under investigation for human trafficking, fraud, and violent assault. You're not the only one he's hurt." Anna's face went pale. She held Liam even closer. As the cabin settled into silence, the fire still. Burning low, Anna looked at David. "Why did you fight for us so hard?" she asked softly. David answered, "Because no one fought for my sister. I couldn't save her, but I could save you." Anna took his hand. "You already did." That night, snow fell heavier than ever, but inside the cabin, for the first time in a long time, Anna and Liam slept in peace. The snow had stopped. Sunlight broke through the clouds and touched the white forest with a golden light. Birds began to sing. Trees dripped quietly as the ice melted. The storm was over, in the sky and in their lives. Inside the cabin, Anna slowly opened her eyes. For the first time in months, she didn't wake up in fear. No nightmares, no loud knocks, no screaming in her ears, just peace. She looked at Liam, still sleeping beside her, his tiny chest rising and falling gently. His face was calm. He looked safe. Downstairs, David was in the kitchen making breakfast, eggs, toast, and warm tea. When Anna walked in holding Liam, he smiled. "Good morning," he said. "You slept well?" She nodded. "Better than I have in years." They sat together at the small wooden table. David fed Liam small pieces of soft toast, and Anna watched, smiling. She had never seen her son so happy. But there was something she had to ask. "David," she said, her voice soft. "What happens now?" David looked at her carefully. "Now, you start over, a new life, far away from the past." She hesitated. "And what about you?" "I'll be there," he said. "If you want me to be." Anna's eyes filled with tears. "You already gave us everything. Safety, shelter, hope. How can I ever repay you?" David took her hand gently. "You already did. You survived. You didn't give up." They sat in silence for a moment, just listening to the fire crackle and Liam giggle as he dropped food on the floor. Then Anna said something she hadn't said in a long time, something that felt strange, but right. "I'm ready." "Ready for what?" David asked. "To live, to be free, to stop hiding." David smiled. Then we'll take the first step together." A few days later, Anna stood in front of a judge. David, Maria, and James stood behind her for support. Victor was already in prison, facing many charges. His lawyers couldn't save him. Too many people had come forward. Too many lives he had broken. The judge granted Anna full custody of Liam and gave her a new identity, a fresh start. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. David held Anna's hand and whispered, "Ignore them. They don't matter. Just walk forward." Anna took a deep breath and stepped out. People didn't see a scared woman anymore. They saw strength. They saw a mother who had fought back. A few weeks later, David made an announcement at his company. He was stepping down for a while to focus on something more important, helping women and children escape abuse. He started a foundation with Anna by his side. They named it Liam's Light. It gave shelter, food, legal help, and hope to women across the country. Anna became the heart of the foundation. She met other women like her. She listened to their stories. She told them they were not alone. Each time she hugged a crying mother or held a frightened child, she remembered the night in the rain and how one man changed her life. One evening, David and Anna sat in the park watching Liam play in the grass. "Do you ever think about that night?" she asked. "Every day," David replied. "Why didn't you just drive away?" she asked again. He looked at her, his eyes soft. "Because," the world looked away. "And I couldn't," Anna smiled. "You saved us." David shook his head. "No, you saved yourself. I just reminded you that you could." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Thank you," she whispered, "for not giving up on me, for standing by us when it was dangerous." David looked at her and said gently, "That's what love does." The sun began to set, painting the sky with orange and pink. Liam ran toward them, arms wide, laughing. Anna stood up, scooped him into her arms, and spun him around. His laughter echoed in the air. David watched them, his heart full. Once, he had lost everything. Now he had something more than wealth. He had purpose, he had love, he had a family. The storm had passed, and at last, a new sunrise had begun.